Welcome back to Rodecast, guys. Hope you're doing well out there. I'm your host, Rod, as always. And in this video, we're going to be doing an update to a criminal case that I covered about 3-4 months ago out of Wisconsin, where Judge Hannah Dugan was hit with federal charges of obstruction and concealing an illegal alien wanted by federal authorities for basically lying to ICE and having them wait in the front while she sneaked an illegal alien out the back door. At least that's the allegation, okay? Which seems to be true according to the line of events that have been laid out by the prosecutors, the timeline, and the camera footage that we have from inside the courtroom. But she claims, no, she didn't do that. She's totally innocent. And the latest update is that a federal judge has denied her motion to dismiss. She was trying to claim judicial immunity, basically saying that anything that happened inside the courthouse and her courtroom is off limits and the prosecutors can't touch her. A federal judge for Wisconsin denied her motion to dismiss, and so now she's off to trial. And she's facing something like 6 years in prison and also $300,000 in fines. Okay, so she didn't kill anybody. She's not going to prison for life, so don't even think that. But it's important just to prosecute. Even if she only gets 2 years, whatever it is, it's important to make the point that the DOJ will go after anybody who tries to obstruct ICE and save these disgusting illegals from dragged out of here after they invaded our country.
Authorities say this video that you see right there was released by the county. It shows Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan, they say, talking with ICE agents who came to arrest Eduardo Flores Ruiz. They say she was deliberately distracting the federal agents as Flores Ruiz fled through a side exit of the courtroom with his attorney that you see there. We're told by a person familiar with the case that it's not uncommon for attorneys and their clients to exit from that doorway when trying to avoid a conflict.
The kind of cases that they're talking about here are very rare. Like when there's overwhelming publicity surrounding a certain person, you might let them go out the back door. This was not that kind of case. The only people waiting on the other side of that door were ICE agents in the front. Okay, that's why she let him out the back, because she didn't want him. She took one look at this guy, summed him up. You can tell an illegal right away like that when you're an American, okay, because they're nothing like us. Okay, can't speak English. They have that lost, delusional, delirious look on their face, okay, completely out of it, to fat burrito. So Judge Dugan knew exactly who this guy was. Basically, she saw him. She knew what was going on. She met the ICE agents, as you just saw in the video, and she went and told them to go out the back door. I have no doubt in my mind that she did this because she didn't care what his criminal history was. She says she didn't know the criminal history, okay, or immigration status. Okay, maybe that's true, but she took one look at the guy and one look at what's happening outside with ICE. She knew what was going on. She let the illegal out the back door because she supports them. Okay, this is nothing to do. This is all about ideology. These self-hating white people, they hate themselves and they hate white people, so they look at anyone who's not white, automatically sees them as a victim that they need to help. That's the mindset that's going on here. A lot of people don't understand this. A lot of people, even people who watch my videos, you guys have all kinds of ideas about, oh, she's being paid by the cartels. No, this is not about money. This is about ideology. This is about destroying the European heritage of this country and replacing it with something else that's not European. That's what these people fundamentally believe in their bones. That's what the open borders people believe. They want to destroy the Anglo-Saxon heritage of this country. That's the goal. And you guys are wrong with all your conspiracies about how they're being paid by the cartel. No, they're not. They're not. They actually believe this stuff. I know it's hard for you to believe, but she actually believes it. Rachel Maddow believes what she's saying. All these lunatic liberals, they actually believe and care more about these foreigners than they do about Americans. That's the fact. Whether you want to accept it or not is your choice. Okay, I'm telling you what the facts are. That's why they're driven to get arrested, to get hurt, to get shot, to get beaten up for these illegals, because they love the foreigner more than they love America, because they think because of slavery and other things that Americans are forever evil and white Americans are evil. And they don't want to help us. They want to destroy the white America, and they want to replace it with people like this. That's why they automatically jump to help an illegal. Anybody who looks Hispanic, anybody who looks Latino, they automatically jump to help them. And they never jump to help. She would abandon her own daughter and would not help her leave the courthouse, but she did it for an illegal because she fundamentally cares about them more than her own kind. That's the problem with these open borders ideologies and people who believe in them. Same thing with Judge Kano, the other judge who was arrested the same week that Dugan was arrested in New Mexico. He let an MS-13 gang member live in the back of his house. Okay. And he was arrested too, also facing federal charges. So this is a disease that these people have. Self-hating white people with guilt oozing out of every pore of their body. That's why they do this stuff.
The court documents, the judge told Flores Louise that his attorney to use that exit from the courtroom. It's usually not open to the public, mostly used by the jurors. He is then seen running outside, you see there, from the courthouse for almost a block before he is eventually arrested by ICE agents.
So that's the background, in case anybody forgot. He literally ran out the courthouse. Okay. And if the ICE agents weren't fast enough, and he's a fat ass, so of course he wasn't going to run too far. But if the ICE agents couldn't run, they would have never caught him. He would have gotten away. A violent thug who beat up his own roommates, and she let him out the back door.
The case against Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan is moving forward.
It's all lies.
Federal prosecutors say she helped an immigrant evade waiting immigration agents. Dugan says she didn't know the man's immigration status.
When they come in front of me, I'm not supposed to know that.
Days before federal agents arrested her in April, she called the police about another issue. During her conversation, she told MPD about the immigrant case.
A couple taxpayers are mad that I hid this guy in the jury room. I don't believe anything that they're saying. What I'm worried about is just the wackos that will believe this story, which is not true.
Oh, the wackos who believe this story? You mean the story backed up with footage? And you on the footage doing what the prosecutors are saying? Are those the kind of wackos you're talking about? Wackos like me who look at objective evidence and the law and determine what the most likely motive was? Are those the wackos you're talking about, Judge? Yeah, us wackos are going to determine your fate. So calling us wackos might not be a good idea.
I'm not being investigated by the feds. The FBI was not there. ICE was there.
In fact, the federal complaint against Dugan says FBI and ICE agents were outside her courtroom. They say they plan to arrest Eduardo Flores Ruiz, who is in state court for charges of domestic abuse. Federal prosecutors say she brought him through a non-public jury door.
I did not hide this migrant in the jury room or in my chambers. I had him leave out the back door, which I do when the circumstances warrant it.
And what were the circumstances? She just admitted to the crime, by the way. She just said she let him out the back door. That she said it. So she basically confessed, in my opinion. Okay, but that's up to the jury to decide. So we'll let that go on to trial. But she just admitted it. And what were the circumstances? Pray tell. What were the circumstances? Were the media outside? Was there a media frenzy that would have put his life in danger or something? No, because that's the only other reason that you would let him go out the back door. Like if the media is chomping at the bits to like devour this guy, then yeah, like a celebrity, for example, like if Johnny Depp or Amber Heard, when that trial was going on, that's when you let people out the back door because there's so much public interest and paparazzi around that you want to protect the person that's actually coming to trial. That's not what was going on here. You saw ICE, you summed up in your mind that he's an illegal and you decided to help him. She herself just said that she didn't know what the criminal charges against this guy were. Okay, she just said that, and she said she didn't know the immigration status. So without knowing whether he could have been a murderer, you don't know, but you just let him out the back door just because ICE was there. What other reason other than your love for illegals would there be?
I hid this migrant in the jury room or in my chambers. I had him leave out the back door, which I do.
I had him leave out the back door.
I had him leave out the back door, which I do when the circumstances warrant it.
Yeah, what were the circumstances that warranted it? I didn't get an answer to my question, okay? And I'm not going to. The circumstances were she saw an illegal, she saw a victim, an illegal alien who wasn't white, and she decided to help him out. That's the actual thinking that went on inside her head.
Back in May, Dugan's legal team asked a federal judge to throw out the case. Tuesday, federal judge Lynn Edelman sided with the federal government. He says history reveals the government has the better argument. Dugan's defense argues she has judicial immunity, meaning she's protected from prosecution for her official actions as a judge. But the federal government says that immunity only applies to civil lawsuits and does not shield judges from criminal prosecution.
So the bottom line is things are not looking good for Judge Hannah Dugan over here, who decided to help out an illegal criminal evade ICE because, according to her, the circumstances required it. She'll be able to explain at trial what those so-called circumstances were. And we all know what the circumstance was. She saw a victim from Latin America, and she saw ICE agents inside the courthouse, and she decided to side with the illegal alien and let him escape the back door. That is on video. That is the chain of the timeline. Okay, the chain of events on the timeline. And the jury, after seeing all that evidence, will most likely, over 90% chance, find her guilty on both of those charges. She was obstructing and she was concealing this criminal, this illegal alien, from the police. Okay, those are the two charges that she's been hit with. And the evidence shows that that's exactly what she did. So we'll see what happens at trial. I'll be covering this as it goes forward. But that's all I got to say for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you guys in my next one.